Hello guys, and welcome to our video of our travels in Veracruz, Mexico. We started our trip in Tijuana and flew the day before Thanksgiving, which in the United States that's usually a bad thing, but in Mexico there is no Thanksgiving, so usually it's not a bad day to travel. But this day there were clouds in Mexico City, and basically if the airport in Mexico City goes down, basically all airlines in Mexico go down, because Mexico City is the hub to basically all travel in Mexico. So we were delayed there in the Tijuana airport, and because of that we didn't have a gate for our plane, so we had to take this special bus to our plane. And it was kind of interesting because we got on our plane by getting off of this bus, walking onto the tarmac itself, and then loading ourselves into the plane. But in the end, it was all good. We got to our plane, no problem. Volaris is a good company to travel with. And we ended up going into Mexico City. This is us, of course, coming into Mexico City. And as you can see, it's a big city. So, of course, coming into Mexico City, all the planes were delayed, which meant our other connecting flight to Veracruz was also delayed, and we spent several hours. So it wasn't really until that night, around 8 p.m., so it took us a whole day of traveling that we got into Veracruz. The Veracruz airport is a beautiful airport, very clean, very safe. It cost us 120 pesos. So about $6 to get from the airport to our hotel. And let me tell you, you saw the video, but the hotel itself is beautiful. The hotel is called the Hotel Mocambo, and it was first established in the 1940s. And it's not very well upkept, but it is a beautiful, grand hotel and lives up to the dream. Every morning we had beautiful views for breakfast, coconuts, food was included, and the price was right. It was only about $45 every night for this hotel, and that included breakfast, Wi-Fi for that hotel. We are here at the Aquarium in Veracruz, Mexico. The cost to get in here is 130 pesos. And we just got out of the penguin encounter, which cost us 440 pesos per person. So 130 pesos is about $5.50, and 400 pesos is about $20 for the penguin encounter. Most of these different encounters they have, behind me you can see a dolphin encounter going on. They also have a tiger shark encounter, and then we did the penguin one where you can actually pet the penguins. There's lots of different exhibits here. There are birds, penguins, dolphins, and all sorts of fish here. And then you can see the coast behind me. Yeah, that's right, folks. That's $100 ashtray right there. Well, $95 ashtray made out of silver. You gotta be styling to be using that kind of stuff. in the house of Augustine Lara. He was a singer, well, songwriter that primarily wrote songs in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and he died in 1974. This was his house, and it's now converted into a small museum. We are now at the Naval Museum of Mexico. Veracruz is the headquarters for the Mexican Navy, and this is the Mexican Navy headquarters. And this museum talks about the history of the Navy here in Veracruz. Veracruz is a very important port ever since Hernan Cortez came here in 1520 to the invasions of both the United States and France and the War of Independence. All were fought here in the ports of Veracruz. We are in Veracruz. Well, actually we're on the outskirts of Jalapa, Veracruz. And we're in the Museum of Lincero. This is the old Hacienda of Santa Ana. General Santa Ana lost the war to the United States in 1848, and about 48% of Mexico was lost in that war. After the war, he retreated back to here, to this hacienda, and built up this hacienda. It's comprised of a church where he married his wife who was 17 years old, a man-made lake, and it had at the time 18,000 hectares of, which is about 5,000 acres of land, but now it's reduced to just the museum grounds. I am now in the Anthropology Museum of Celaya. The Olmecs who built these, they lived about 100 to 600 years before Christ, some as far as 1,200 years before Christ. And you can see behind me one of the 7 of the giant Olmec heads that are here in the museum. Here at the fire god who would make fire in the Olmec world. He's an older man, and as you can see, he has on his right ear a big circle where he would get the rays from the sun. On his left ear and on his wrists he has strikers which he would strike the fire down, and around his neck is a collar that would protect him from the fire that would go down into the bowl, because his body was nude. He's got a beard because he was an old man, he was known as an old man, and a long nose because he was known for telling tales, so he would tell different tales to people. Here we can see the layers and what would be covered on the edges of the pyramids. Today they're gray, but back then there would be layers and layers of stucco, and they would paint beautiful murals into the stucco. And this is what's left. And you can see different layers that have peeled back over the years. I was able to count about 5 different layers. Here we can see the heads of the Olmecs. You can see that they're deformed. The Olmecs liked long heads, and so they would deform the head. They would push it down when they were babies. Here you can see the baby's head being pushed down so that they would have a long head. That was considered a sign of beauty, to have a long, elongated head. We are here in the Capitol building, the municipal palace of the state of Veracruz. Colonial style building from the 1800s. In the front there's a bunch of different murals that you can see. I'm sitting in the plaza right now. Traveling down a 500-year-old road looking for a waterfall. Part of the trail. Down there we're going to go down to the trail, and then we're going to walk up a gravel road for about a half a mile and go to these waterfalls. Going down the trail here to the waterfalls. Looks like about halfway down. Okay, let's go, AJ. AJ's gonna go in the too.
Not swimming in.
That is one heck of a drop down to the bottom here. That is beautiful though. And we're walking over a huge... Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Bridge. It's a little bit rickety. I can feel it being suspended. But it's bouncy. And I'm walking with one hand, and you can see that one over there has fallen apart. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. So we're just being careful with this bridge. Just walking very slowly. It is a little bit rickety. So we made it over this one, and apparently we're heading towards the second waterfall. So we've now come to another part of the trail. This trail is longer than a half a mile. We have to walk over this very strange bridge. So we'll keep on going. There's lots of things to see, and supposedly we're going to get to the second waterfall. So we have walked up this riverbed and up to Langojas Cascade, which is right behind me.
Cascada de las Monjas.
No, Cascada de las Monjas, which means the monks in Pico, Veracruz.